What's going on, guys? Shane here with another Fight Tips quick tip. So today we're talking about what to do if someone gets knocked out. If a friend of yours gets knocked out, or if you're in a fight and you knock someone else out, how to properly handle the situation. This came up because a lot of people were commenting on my video saying, Shane, I can't find any information about what to do if someone gets knocked out. And that's for good reason. I'll explain why. If you take a CPR class or a first aid class, they'll explain to you that if someone dives into a pool and they hit their head, or if someone gets in a street fight and they're knocked unconscious, there's a possibility that they're suffering from a neck or a back injury, a spinal vertebrae injury. Now, if they're laying on their side and you roll them over onto their back in a way that tweaks the injury or makes it worse, you could be held responsible for that. Even if you're not the person who knocked them out. If you went over to your friend and you rotated them and you broke something in their neck or furthered the injury, like I said, you could be held responsible. And that's why it's hard to find this information online, because they don't want to give that information out. And I need to be careful in how I answer this because I don't want to be held responsible either. But I want to make sure that you and your loved ones are safe. So let me explain. The first thing is that take a CPR class, take a first aid class so that you have professional training. If you see a knockout happen, whether you knock someone out or a loved one or a friend gets knocked out, first thing that I recommend doing is either you call 911 or you tell someone else to call 911 and get professional medical help right away. If you don't know how to handle the situation, you need someone there who does. So that's the first bit of advice, is call 911 or have someone else call 911. Then you tend to the person. The first thing I want you to check for is make sure that they're breathing. Okay, put your ear over their mouth, over their nose, and make sure that they are breathing. If they're not, then you need to check their airways. Okay, you need to open up their mouth to see if they're choking on their tongue, if they're choking on vomit, if they're face down in the grass or in a puddle. You need to make sure that they're breathing. Okay. Now, when you rotate a person over onto their side, if they're face down, what you need to be careful here, and like I said, I can't tell you to do this because of reliability, but one way that people do it, I'll say that, is you have to make sure that you keep the head straight and the body straight and keep them in line when you rotate. So you would grab the side of the head, you would grab the neck, and you would have someone else rotate the body so that you move the same time. It's not the head moving, then the body moving. You see the twisting of the neck. You want everything to move in sync at the same time, okay? So if you have to, in order to help them with their breathing, then this is what people recommend, is rotating them onto their side so that you can clear the passageways. If you have to stick a finger in their mouth to move the tongue or to move vomit out of the way, you may have to do that. Okay, then you would check for the pulse. 2 fingers, not using your thumb, use 2 fingers, push into the carotid artery, push into the neck. And just doing this to yourself, you realize that you do have to push pretty hard, but you can feel that beat in your neck, okay? That's one way of telling if their heart is beating. Of course, hand on the chest, head on the chest, but one of the best ways, 2 fingers, just pushing into the carotid arteries and feeling for the pulse. Okay, so if you knock someone out, I still recommend calling 911, even if it's a mugger or an attacker. If you decide that you don't want to be involved for any reason, it could be an anonymous phone call, but either way, you want to give that person medical attention. Even if they're a bad person and they attacked you, to cover your own butt, I still recommend that you do call 911 and seek medical help for that person. But still, that's the first bit of advice. If it's someone that you care about or someone that just attacked you, I still recommend calling 911. Checking for an airway. More so, I'd probably do that against someone that I care about as opposed to someone who just tried to kill me. And then the pulse as well. All right, guys, so a lot of information in this video, but again, I recommend taking a first aid class and a CPR class. I did, and it's been a world of help. All right, guys, until next time, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to get the fight tips before your opponent does. Until then, I'm Shane with Fight Tips. Self-defense for the underdogs.